Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Learn to Empower. After a long time I came up with a new video for all of you, and this video is related to a security terminology, a security attack which is known as a brute force attack. And today we will discuss how we will follow the brute force attack detection through the KQL queries and what is brute force attacks. So let's proceed. So first of all we need to know what is actually the brute force attack means. Where an attacker attempts to try multiple password by guessing or some random logic to gain access to particular account, then it is said to be a brute force attack, because the attacker will try to log into that particular user account on a continuous basis with multiple passwords, and these are the random passwords. The common targets for such attacks will be the user accounts or the RDP or the SSH access or the cloud logins. Normally, how to identify these type of attacks? When we check the high volume of failed login, it will be the quick indicator for the brute force attack. And how we are going to detect? Let's see in our further video. So let's proceed further. How the brute force attack will be flow. Initially, when attacker identifies an account to target, he tried to run an automated script to send a repeated login attempts to that particular account with a random passwords. All the random password will be based on some logic, whether it will be the dictionary based or the hash based, but the attempt will be regular or a repeated one. The log shows multiple failures from the same source IP. When we detect the potential success after a multiple failure of the account to log in successfully is a quick indicator that the account is now a compromised one. So we can able to find all these things with the crucial indicators. Now let's proceed to check how we detect it. Normally we use Azure AD sign-in logs table to detect such type of attack. Here we use sign-in log table, and the conditional will be the result type will not equal to 0, which shows the failed login attempt. If you see a high volume of failed login attempt, we will try to identify the IP address from where it is trying to log in to detect it. When we talk about a query, we will use a KQL query, a custom query language. This is similar to SQL. However, here we will use a command which is different from the SQL one. Here we use table. The table name we are using is sign-in logs because it's from the Azure, and the condition will be where result type not equals to 0, which shows there is a failed login attempt. Then we need to count the number of failed attempt. So we will use summarize failed attempt equals to count, and we need to get the output field. What we need is the username and the IP address from where the failed attempts were there, and the time generated will be the 5 minutes. So it will give you result in last 5 minutes how many failed attempts from which IP it is done. So we will get the log with the help of this query. If the failed attempts are greater than 10, means it's a high risky zone. So we will get the result in order by format by using the order by keyword in the query. So it will show the order by will be the failed attempt in the descending order. Similarly, we can check the same results with the help of Windows event log. When we want to check with the help of Windows event log, for Windows event, we need to check for the particular ID. For failed login, the ID will be 4625, and for successful login, the ID will be 4624. The table name will be changed when we talk about the Windows event logs. So the table name will be security event table. So we will check for the failed login attempts, which is the code 4625, which is the indicator of a brute force attack, number of failed attack or failed login. Now, this is a query which shows the brute force attack in terms of Windows event log. So we are comparing both the event through the Azure sign-in logs as well as the Windows detection log, Windows event log. So here the table or the query will be security event will be the table where we'll use the logic event ID equals to 4625, which shows the number of failed login. Where the event is 4625, it means a failed login. We can summarize the failed login count and display the target account name and the IP address. And the time generated is the last 5 minutes. Similarly, we will use the same query for where and order by. We will order by with the help of failed attempt in descending order, and we will identify the occurrence of the failed attempt will be greater than 0 or greater than 10 or not. So the rest of the query will be same, only the table name and the condition operator name or the attribute name will be changed with respect to both the tables. So this we can use for comparing whether it's a brute force or not. If somehow we identify that after the number of failed attempts, there is one successful login. So how we will get that successful login? If the result shows 4624 entry here in the Windows event log, after the number of failed attempts, it will show 4624. We will type a query for successful event where we change the event ID to 4624. And if we get a result of a successful login, it means after the number of failed attempts, the ID got compromised and somehow the attacker got logged into the device. So to identify that failed, the successful login, what we do to identify the compromised account, we will use the join keyword in the custom query language with the help of left outer. So we will create both the queries for failed attempt as well as the success attempt, and we will join both the queries with the help of join left outer keyword in the custom query language, and that will give you the result that the account is compromised now after attempting for a brute force attack. The associate mapping as per the Mitre attack mapping technique for this type of attack is T1110, which is known for brute force attack. If we found that there is only the multiple failed attempts are there, so it means a password guessing. So we will map it to T1110.001 for password guessing. If the attempts were more, then we will count this as a T1110.003, which is a password spraying. The detection was the monitoring the field log events. Similarly, when we go for a SOC investigation steps, we need to first identify the affected account and obtain the IP and the location. We can check for the pattern for that particular IP, whether it's previously tried or this is the first time attempt for the failed login with that IP. Verify the successful login if it is there to obtain whether the account is compromised or not. Review the geolocation of the IP and then advise user to reset the password. Now, the automated response that we can do. We can enable the account lockout policies for such condition. We can also trigger condition for the failed login alert. We can also enable the multiple factor authentication for all the accounts. We can also enable the condition access policy. We can give some authentication for the capture related one, so it will take time when user try to log into someone's account. Or we can integrate the automated SOAR playbooks. These all we can do to remediate the brute force attack in the environment or to prevent it. Brute force is a common attack that we've seen in the cloud security, and this is the overall approach that we will follow for the brute force attack. Hope you will like the today's lecture. This is an overall summary of the brute force attack, that it relies on totally on the password reset attempts, which is repeated in format. To avoid such attacks, we need to continuously monitor the failed logins with the help of key detection methods. We need to check the Azure AD and Windows log. They both help in the investigation for this. And we can use KQL queries and the appropriate Mithra mapping techniques. With the help of SOAR automation, we can completely defend such type of attacks. Hope you will like this session And if you have any query, please let me know. I will prepare a new lecture and wait for the further lectures with the new attack scenario to explain with the help of KQL queries. Thank you guys for watching this video. I will soon come up with a new video with a new use case scenario. Thank you everyone, and thanks to be part of Learn to Empower. Please subscribe my channel and like this video.